This is your last life ever. So don't endlessly trade your time for dollars. You don't have to always sell your time for money. That's not scalable. High returns and low risk actually do coexist in real estate because you can be paid 5 ways at the same time. One of those 5 ways is with cash flow, recurring income from your tenant that shows up whether you had any involvement with the property that month or not. This is passive income. Welcome back to the 5-part video series, the course based on Get Rich Education's landmark concept that I coined, Real Estate Pays 5 Ways. I'm your host, Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, best-selling author, and longtime real estate investor. This is the second of 5 ways called cash flow. In the first video, you got a 20% return from leveraged appreciation. Here we are building up. We'll determine your cash flow return and add it onto that 20%. You're not nearly maximizing your life's wealth building potential if you've never done this, but I don't blame you. They don't teach this in school. And there was a time in my life after college graduation where I wondered how in the heck real estate could make someone wealthy. I thought, what is there to like? This is enigmatic, a mystery. The elements wear down the outside of the real estate, and then the tenants wear down the inside, and then all the while it only appreciates at about the rate of inflation. But wow, was I wrong. Once I figured out what I'm continuing to show you today, it changed my life, and I'm confident that it will change yours. My first ever rental property was a 4-plex building where I lived in 1 unit and rented out the other 3. And I am sharing with you what I wish I had known even sooner. And when I bought that seminal 4-plex, I didn't even know what terms like leverage, equity, and cash flow even meant. Let's continue building your wealth, perhaps beyond what you ever expected. This second way of how real estate pays 5 ways with income property is what many consider the most important because it is the most liquid way. Because this pays you cash every month, you can either immediately reinvest it or increase your standard of living. And this is effectively your salary increase plan. And it's funny. When 401k plans started getting rolled out in the early 1980s, the early name of it was a salary reduction plan. They had to scrap the name just to foster participation, but incredibly, 401k plans and those like them still lower your salary every year. Where real estate cash flow increases your salary every year, and it's tax advantaged too. This income, it comes from your tenant rent payment minus the property expenses. But where is your cash flow sourced? With jobs. It's how your tenant gets their rent payment. And to keep your passive income recurring, that's why it's important to own property in a market or a metro where you have good economic vibrancy and diversification. Imagine the opposite if you owned property in a tiny town where half the jobs are tied to a zinc mine. Well, that's precarious. Now your rent income fortunes are tied to one zinc mine. And this is why, like larger metros, your market selection is even more important than your property. That's a huge lesson right there. It's about the durability of your passive income. All right, we're about to run the numbers and see what your rate of return from passive cash flow is. First, go ahead and put a like on the video if you like how I'm breaking it down. I really appreciate the like. And this Real Estate Pays 5 Ways course is brought to you by our sister site, GRE Marketplace. It's where you can find smart properties in the most investor advantage markets, all conducive to this strategy. We also offer free personalized investment coaching at GRE Marketplace. Let's do it. We'll build on our example of your ownership of a $200,000 income property with a $50,000 down payment like I introduced in video 1. And if you think that's too small of a property for you to start out with, No worries, these are all ratios. If you want a $2 million apartment building instead, you just multiply everything by 10. I do suggest starting off small though. On this $200K rental single family home, say that your rent is $1,500 a month. So that's $18,000 of annual rent income, but then you need to deduct out your expenses, and you will have a lot of them. They are your mortgage and all of your operating expenses. The easy way to remember those is with the acronym VIMTUM, Vacancy Insurance Maintenance, Taxes, Utilities, and Management. They are your operating expenses. Paying that manager there is what keeps this mostly passive for you. To be clear, your rent income minus your mortgage and VIMTUM operating expenses equals your cash flow, your rent overflow. Okay, here we go. Say you figure that from your $18K of annual rent income that you must pay out $15K worth of annual expenses. That leaves you with $3,000 of cash flow, or so you thought. But a freak plumbing problem costs you an extra $1,000 for your manager's plumber to fix, and now it only leaves you with $2,000 of annual cash flow. Well, then you had a higher maintenance expense than you had previously forecast because, something stupid often happens out of the blue in real estate investing. So that's what happened here. All right, well, your $2,000 of cash flow, which is passive income, divided by your same $50K invested, that gives you a return of 4% from the second of 5 ways you're paid. This portion is what's known as the cash-on-cash return. You thought it would be 6%, but we're being conservative. The freak plumbing problem just made it 4%. We'll add this to the 20% from leveraged appreciation from back in the first video, and you now have an accumulated 24% total rate of return from this income property already. And we still got 3 ways to go and just pile onto this return in the next 3 videos. How high will it go? And you know what's interesting with this, lucrative math, adding up your lofty return? It's actually conservative. As we proceed, you'll note that I'm using simplification and rounding. You'll see me round down more than round up to help keep this conservative. And real estate math is super simple. It's just add, subtract, multiply, or divide. There's just nothing complex like trigonometry or calculus or exponents. This is easy. You just have to know what numbers to use. That's exactly what you're learning. If you missed it, go back and watch video 1 to see how we got the 20% there. If you miss any one of these videos, you'll never quite know how it all goes together. And be sure to keep that from happening, because coming up right here, it's part 3, the third of 5 ways that you're simultaneously paid with income property. The only way you'll be assured of seeing it is to both click subscribe and hit the notification bell too. If you're watching this later, just click on the video popping up on your screen and I'll see you there.